Let's talk about UFOs. Let's talk about Space Force, and let's talk about what the Chinese are saying. This was a stunning story, but not surprising. If you've been following the UFO, the UAP story for any length of time, I mean, we've moved past the point of, please don't be the moron at all who jumps in our chat and says, wait a minute, you believe in UFOs? We're beyond that. That ship has sailed, by the way, guys. We now have like incontrovertible evidence and proof of that. And many government employees, members of the military, all sorts of reports, and individuals who've worked on down craft, reverse engineering of craft. That ship has sailed. Let's move beyond. Let's elevate this conversation beyond. Do they exist? Yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do. But now the real question is about politics. The real question is about money and power and the use of the UFOs, right? They exist. They're out there. They're from another world, wherever they come from, we don't know. But now what's happening is the United States and the Pentagon are starting to position this as a way of expanding our military into space even more. Now, China, in a speech yesterday, is accusing the U.S. military of militarizing space. And it all comes down to specifically UFOs. The U.S. military is attempting to turn outer space into a battlefield, China's foreign ministry has said. China accuses the United States of seeking to militarize outer space after the Pentagon issued a new policy document which deemed space a priority domain of national military power. They were speaking to reporters, and they said this was in direct response to what the Pentagon issued in late August. Now, again, what happened in late August is fascinating because the Senate and the Pentagon basically are in alignment on the UAP, the UFO, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to still call it UFOs. I know that the government now wants to call them unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton came out with that and she's like, that's what we're calling them now. It's like, no, Hillary, we're still calling them unidentified flying objects. You can label them however you want. But what happened, interestingly, is that Congress has now pushed towards the idea that we see this as a massive threat and we need to expand exponentially.
Okay. Also, aliens, I think, is a word we don't use any longer.
Aliens.
It's otherworldly beings.
Otherworldly beings. Okay.
Just so you know.
Ridiculous. Now we're even so politically correct with our alien speak. So.
Oh, I like the term otherworldly beings.
I'm still using aliens, yeah.
Okay.
So Congress has admitted a couple of pieces on all of this. Congress, in their new budget for the American Intelligence Services, has directed that the Pentagon focus its UFO investigation on those objects that it can't identify. Here's Vice News. Congress admits UFOs are not man-made. We know that. Right? We know that they are not man-made. And it says that the threat is increasing exponentially. That's the phrase I want you to pay attention to. The threats are increasing exponentially. What threats exactly? They've been here for arguably thousands of years. Now they're a threat. Suddenly they're a threat when we're worried about China and we're worried about Russia now. UFOs are a threat?